Today, what I want to do is share some insights with you about how to establish a connection with your daughter, especially during the infant to elementary school age years. Welcome to Mother-Daughter Connections, the show dedicated to educating, encouraging, and equipping moms to build lasting, meaningful connections with their daughters. I'm your host and mother-daughter relationship personal trainer, Dr. Deering. My heart is to be of help to you. I believe that your relationship with your mom is the foundation for your future success, personally, parentally, and professionally. Now remember, even though I'm a licensed psychologist, I'm not your shrink on this show. I am, however, here to share my opinions and those of my guests. If you have concerns about your mental health, please seek services from a mental health provider in your local area. Now join me as we pause to consider today's topic. Has your daughter stopped talking to you the way she used to? Well, that could be for any number of reasons. Maybe something was said or not said, or maybe something was done or not done, or maybe you both just got your wires crossed. Whatever the reason, there are definite research-based principles that you can use to get your daughter talking to you again. And I've put those principles in my Get Your Daughter Talking Now online course. It's a self-paced, 3-module, step-by-step program that you can use to fix the lines of communication between you and your daughter, regardless of her age. Just go to www.getyourdaughtertalkingnow.com to start rebuilding your relationship today. And if you've already purchased the program, awesome. Just make sure that you share the link with your mom friends so that they can get in on the healing. The link again is www.getyourdaughtertalkingnow.com. Now, let's hop into today's episode. Well, hi there, and welcome to today's show. I'm so excited that you are here with me today. You know, recently I was having a conversation with my friend Krista Lockwood of Motherhood Simplified, and during our time together, she asked me a question about how to maintain a connection with her daughter, because she's got 3, and one of them is a teenager. So, I shared some insights with her. But today, what I want to do is share some insights with you about how to establish a connection with your daughter, especially during the infant to elementary school age years. I call it sort of like a connection line. And if you hang around me long enough and you've been listening to past episodes, you know I am into acronyms, so LINE is really standing for the 4 things that you need to do to establish a connection with your daughter. So let's hop in, okay? The first is the L. L stands for looking at your daughter. You know, in our busy, frenetic lives as moms, it's so easy for us to actually go from, the initial, ooh, coo, 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 when your baby's an infant, when your daughter's an infant, to casual glances later on because we're so busy. But in the early years, the practice and experience of you looking at your daughter is very key to her developing a sense of connection with you in which she feels that you see her, because your face becomes a mirror into her sense of significance. Now, the I stands for instructing your daughter relationally. And by that, I mean relationally as it relates to relational boundaries pertaining to her physical space, her mental space, and her emotional space. The physical space, in particular when they're young, really instructing her on what inappropriate and appropriate touch is. And then with regards to her mental space, giving her just free time for her brain to just develop. And that usually happens with adequate sleep and free play. And then there's the emotional space where you teach her how to put words to her feelings so that she can express them with her words. The N stands for negating naysaying. Now, one of my biggest peeves is when I hear some kind of naysaying comments being expressed from one mom to another. Things like, well, wait until she, or you'll see when. It's one of the most insidious, toxic things that could ever be said or shared or spread amongst moms, especially as it relates to our daughters. I'm not going to go into it now. I feel myself getting pumped up. Because when you naysay about your daughter, however be it unintentional or intentional, you're really setting her up to do just that which you're naysaying about, even though that's a big fear of yours. And even for those who, despite the negativity, go on to achieve a ton of things, my whole thing is, why would a mom want to do anything to make it harder for her daughter? but I'll share my thoughts about that in another time. So, negate the naysaying and guard your daughter's future. And then lastly, the E stands for engaging in her world. That might seem like a simplistic or obvious thing to do, especially when she's younger. You do that kind of engaging stuff when you play with her, right? However, it can be really easy to let that kind of engagement fall by the wayside when your life gets busy, because our lives get busy. But it's going to be really important, especially in the early years, to engage in her world. Now, it will take some kind of honest, open-hearted type of stance for you to actually find an activity that she really likes that's different from something that you would prefer or enjoy or want to pass down to her. It reminds me of when our eldest daughter, Candace, I think she was just entering elementary school. And, being a sports psychologist, I was like, okay, I have my background in sports and softball was my jam. Hey, hun, let's go out and throw a ball around. And I took her out and it lasted about 5 minutes. And she's like, are we done, Mommy? And I'm like, okay, hun, that's all right. Her jam was swimming. I'm not a swimmer. She loves the water. All right. So what I did was I just found ways in which to work my schedule such that I could take her to the pool, the neighborhood pool where they offered swim lessons, and even just the free playtime in terms of her being able to just swim and enjoy the water. So if you have a daughter who's an infant to, say, elementary school age, you can establish a line of connection with her by L, looking and seeing her, okay? I, instructing her in relational lines. N, negating the naysaying. And E, engaging in her world. And if those lines of connection don't seem to be working for you right now, or it's not the way you'd like, and you'd like to be able to get your connection back online with your daughter, then make sure to check out and buy my online course. It's called the Get Your Daughter Talking Now online course. And you can find that at www.getyourdaughtertalkingnow.com. As always, I am honored to be on this motherhood journey with you. Be encouraged. I see you. I am in your corner. And remember, healthy mother-daughter relationships are possible. They just take one curative connection at a time. I'll see you next week. You've been listening to Mother-Daughter Connections with me, your host and mother-daughter relationship personal trainer, Dr. Michelle Deering. Thanks so much for joining me today. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Share this episode with a friend so they don't miss an episode. And download the resource in the show notes. Until next time, remember to pause to consider how you can connect intentionally so you can improve relationally with your daughter.